Going to advance to day 2, which means that the winners finals is going to be played out tomorrow. Who can advance to top 8? Now, look at those players. ASPRESCELTO, OG of the Play Pokemon series, has topped so many events so far, has been great at ICs, and boom, came in. Explosive start, right? Boom, going in for a win in Lille for his first tournament. He's just said in the video before. Now he's looking to follow this up again with his trusty Shadow, Scizor, Altaria core.
We talked about it. Is his score with Shadow, Scizor, and Altaria. In Gdansk, it was so good for him. Then he brought it back, and yeah, I mean, it's unbeatable, basically, like unbreakable. It's really hard. But if it's ASPRESCELTO, you have 3 starter Pokemon: Venusaur, and Empoleon, and a Feraligatr, along with Altaria, Wigglytuff, and Stunfisk.
Yeah, Venusaur is a Pokemon that is usually very strong. He talked about it earlier, that it really wins a lot of matchups for him, and it fixes some holes in his team that other Pokemon can't, like a Unovan Stunfisk, which is tough for him to handle with this double water flying type. And the own Stunfisk, those matchups can be a bit iffy if you have lower attack than the other one. However, would you consider bringing it against double Steel? Actually, I don't think that Steelix is that bad, right?
No, Steelix is pretty much fine there, yeah, with the Thunder Fang on Steelix and the Venusaur with its great pacing and Frenzy Plants. It's such an amazing move.
Yeah,
it's not so great for Steelix, to be honest.
So you have the Ferret in there as well. Ferret, of course, outpaces you to that Swift, but it won't knock out while Frenzy Plant deals more damage. Let's see how these trainers are going to decide to play this BOEM20 versus ASPRESCELTO. The lead is going to be a Ferret for Boom into the Altaria.
This is a very neutral matchup, both really bulky Pokemon. The Dragon Breath and Sky Attack combination is really good, and the Ferret just ups control for Swifts here in this matchup.
If you're looking at the bet lines, this is really funny because the Venusaur looks phenomenal into both Pokemon of Boom in the backline there, but Empoleon looks rather bad against both of them.
Yeah, Empoleon doesn't look that great in that backline, so I'm kind of curious how ASPRESCELTO is going to play this out for him. Like, as you can see, the Venusaur against Marowak is such an amazing matchup, also against the Steelix. But here, the Ferret goes for another Swift. Altaria most likely not going to shield her since it's so bulky.
Yeah, it takes this like a champ. We're almost at another, so we're way over another Swift. ASPRESCELTO will have the opportunity to farm up a little bit more energy before throwing the Sky Attack that would knock out this Ferret.
The question is, if he's going to show just before the Ferret gets to the Swift. Great counting there by ASPRESCELTO. Going to land the Sky Attack, and Boom is going to up to no shield here and probably take some advantage of this and get some extra energy and farm from Steelix here on the Altaria.
Yeah, this is a great farm down range. The question is, actually gets to a Sky Attack. It wasn't the Flamethrower. How well has Boom counted no shields? It very strong on his side here. Now the question is, does ASPRESCELTO want to bring in the Venusaur? Because if yes, you're getting outpaced to Psychic Fangs, you have to watch out for those, and there is Shadow Marowak in the back.
Yeah, it was great confidence of Boom there, no shielding, and there goes for the first Psychic Fang. It doesn't do that much damage, but over time the second one will do way more damage because it lowers the defense of this Venusaur. The Psychic Fang landing here, and then the Venusaur just overloading on energy here. Probably gonna land the Frenzy Plant before he gets to the second Psychic Fang, and goes for a charge move priority here.
Oh, Venusaur, of course, being able to have higher attack first here. Boom, no shields. This brings, that is a lot of confidence in his own. Marowak there tries to farm it down. Will have to give up a shield. Sludge Bait is being thrown here. I don't think it matters. I think you mud slap it down.
Yeah, I think the bait here doesn't matter, but Boom is going to shield regardless, right? This is the last Pokemon. The Mud Slaps being neutral damage, not so bad in here, but here's going to the Empoleon, and this Bone Clubs, Mud Slaps are chunking into this Empoleon right here, and he also goes for the Bone Club, which gets shielded by the Empoleon.
The question is, can you farm this down? One shield was taken by ASPRESCELTO. Still has 2 shields. Can win this over energy. Hydro Cannon is being thrown. He has to get 4 more Metal Sounds in, but Boom has the option to maybe win this if he connects 3 Mud Slaps, and it's enough. But he's also racing there. Can he get it? No, it's reached. ASPRESCELTO is going to knock out that Shadow Cannon to Marowak. It looked so good in the back, but maybe he needed a little bit more help from his Steelix.
I think he predicted that he would survive that Frenzy Plant on the Steelix, like barely a couple of HP, because you saw his face like a bit disappointed that it didn't survive that. And then if that would have survived, he got the Psychic Fang, would have probably got a shield there from the Venusaur.
And that is the big advantages you get when you play Pokemon that other people do not prepare for. There are some damage ranges where your opponent has to go for a gut feeling, right? Knowing, hey, maybe I live this and then I get a move off. No, this time around, you are not getting your charge attack off. My Venusaur knocks your Steelix out and looks splendid.
Also, like, the Steelix Venusaur matchup is something you probably don't play a lot about because Venusaur is kind of a rare pick to see as well. So it's probably like being backside of his head, like, do I survive this, yes or no? So, but yeah, unfortunately for Boom, he didn't. But great plays from ASPRESCELTO. And now the trainers are currently locking in teams, see what they can adjust and what they can't adjust here.
You have the Empoleon in the back, and Empoleon is a really special Pokemon versus this team. It's rather neutral versus an Altaria. Shadow Steelix and the Shadow Kanto Marowak are really bad matchups when shields are up. You have seen how much damage Mudslaps do. Thunderfang is on a similar level. It's not the same level as Mudslap, but it is close. Shadow Scizor is a good matchup if you are on even energy.
Yeah, otherwise the bullet punches are double resisted on Empoleon's side there. But honestly, Empoleon is so safe. You can just bring it, get shields, or you just win the matchup. So I think like Ferret is like the most neutral play you can have in Empoleon here.
And I like that Boom is leading this most neutral play here. Some players opt to play those neutral Pokemon in the back, having them have safe switches. If my first lead is not going my way, then I can still pivot out into this Pokemon. But Boom says, I want to have play against anything in the lead and then decide on how I'm going to finish this matchup. However, that didn't work out in the last game.
No, it did not. You can see Boom thinking here, strategizing in his head, what can I do, what I can do with this team. Like, because Empoleon is so strong, he needs to really work around it, to be honest. So I think the Marowak might come back to check that Empoleon, and maybe you're going to see Ferret yet again.
Boom staring down the camera while ASPRESCELTO is locked in, one game away from getting day 2 in his first tournament of this season. Wants to qualify for Worlds. That is a good start for him. Now ASPRESCELTO versus BOEM20. Round 2 here. Who makes it to day 2? Can ASPRESCELTO secure it, or is Boom going to come back here? That's a tremendous lead for Boom.
Yeah, we see Ferret into a Feraligatr, non-shadow version. We got the Ferret here. And when the opponent swaps out here to Altaria, we have the scissor action going on Altaria right now.
What a good bait out by this Altaria, because the Wigglytuff is not expected in the back. But also then again, you can't bring in your Shadow Kanto Marowak versus an Altaria. Yeah, and obviously you have to shield here because the threat of a flamethrower taking out the Scissor obviously is huge. But the Scissor can overload on energy here, goes for the second Night Slash. This will knock out, and then it can up to go for the third one before the Altaria gets to another move. Yeah, the biggest problem now for ASPRESCELTO is he kind of disrespected this Shadow Scizor in team building, you know? You have taken it away from that Wigglytuff, but now you have your Feraligatr that you want to bring in against it, because you can't bring in the Wigglytuff, you're going to get outpaced now. You will have to give it a shield back. The question is, can you farm down then? I think this looks like a juicy farm down for the Feraligatr, farming down the Scissor, but like, it doesn't shield here, but the damage that goes on the Feraligatr, and he goes to Ferret, and then goes for an Hydro Cannon here on the Ferret. Probably lets it go, yeah. It's a very good situation for Boom in the back with Kanto Marowak that takes, of course, super effective damage from Hydro Cannons, but it can farm down a Feraligatr before it gets to those. Boom actually throwing a Swift here. Shield is being put up. Maybe ASPRESCELTO wants to throw another Hydro Cannon. Maybe he wants to preserve the energy and swap out there to finish this matchup with the Wigglytuff. No, throws immediately here. Wants to preserve all the HP on Wigglytuff. Yeah, great counting there as well. As we can see, it's going to land on the Ferret, and the Ferret gets knocked out. And then it comes in the Marowak, and here comes the Wigglytuff. It's Wigglytuff versus Marowak here. But Marowak has the advantage here of the pacing with the Bone Clubs, and they actually do add up. Yep, this is the one shield scenario. Both trainers only having one shield left remaining. The question is ASPRESCELTO going to get to too many, or is he going to just suffer from it? She brings in the Scissor, forces the energy immediately, because you can't really farm this down without almost getting knocked out. Uses this 30% HP Scissor as a bait out for the energy of ASPRESCELTO. Keeps energy, keeps the shield on this Marowak, and therefore paces quickly here. Does not throw in charge attack priority. Very wise, because it does not look like it, but Wigglytuff has a lot of attack. Yeah, Wigglytuff actually wins that charged attack priority there. Great knowledge of Boom there, using his Scissor to either get damage or the thing. Here comes the Bone Club, and Feraligatr gets hit by the Bone Club here and it's knocked out. Well played by both trainers. ASPRESCELTO baiting out that Shadow Scizor with the Altaria, but still it was a Pokemon that he did not really want to see, because he had no clear plan on how to get rid of it. And now that I'm seeing this team of ASPRESCELTO, I'm curious why BOEM20 did not decide to bring the Shadow Scizor in the first game, because there is no Annihilate, there is no Fire-type Pokemon. I think the hardest check he has to Shadow Scizor is that Unova Stunfisk, and even that matchup, while you have double resisted bullet punches and you are outpacing, you don't want to take a Trailblaze, ever. You don't want to take a Trailblaze, no, but I do feel like Empoleon into Scizor is more comfortable, because the Scizor always has to respect the Hydro Cannon going on there, and the Trailblaze, I mean, it does some damage, but it doesn't do nearly enough, since it's also a normal variant of the Empoleon, not the Shadow version, and then Bullet Punch is being double resisted. It's so very comfortable for Empoleon, so maybe like he thought like he had a strategy, and later bring the Scizor on when he feels like it's more safe to bring in. Oh, ASPRESCELTO is now pivoting. Can check out what he wants to play here. Are you going to be a little bit more safe versus a Shadow Scizor, or are you going to commit to the strategy that you brought last game to hard counter other Pokemon from BOEM20?
There's also not a lot of fast move pressure going on for the Scizor to farm with anything down. I think the Shadow Claws from Feraligatr, they help a lot, but other than that, the Thunder Shocks maybe from, but that doesn't do a lot of damage, so like Scizor is like really safe to bring, so I do think it's gonna bring it back.
It is very funny with the Shadow Scizor, because you have some Pokemon that should be answers to it, but as long as they're not Talonflame and they knock you out with basically 2 Incinerate, it's always play for Scizor, and when it goes on Rampage, when it gets those advantages, it is going to win games for you. Now we're going to see the lead in Game 3. Who makes it to Day 2? It's Empoleon versus the Altaria.
So you would think Dragon type in the Steel Bite is not so bad, but here comes a Marowak incoming and playing Scizor, and there comes up with an Altaria, which is not so great for Boom here. We do have Rock Slide with just super effective damage to the Altaria, but not nearly enough to knock it out.
This might put it into Rock Slide range though, because Rock Slide has received a buff in Tales of Transformation. Now this is definitely to Rock Slide ranges, so can you knock out as ASPRESCELTO with 1 Sky Attack, or is Boom going to be able to get either switch or a shield advantage here?
I think it's going for the shield advantage here, knowing that the Sky Attack will not knock out, doesn't have to shield, and go for another Rock Slide. Most likely he gets a shield here. Oh no, he lets it go. Okay.
Oh, this looks like a good farm down for ASPRESCELTO, because this Kanto Marowak is dangerously low. Can it get to another charge attack? Oh, Shadow Claws do not do that much damage, but this might be enough to knock out there. Farms it down completely.
That is a crazy farm down for Feraligatr. Feraligatr energy literally goes everywhere, and it's so scary to see a load of Feraligatr. But here comes the third, resisting the Shadow Claws. Gonna soak up the first Hydro Cannon because it's bulky enough to resist one right here.
Maybe Boom can win this game off a Hydro Cannon catch. Now immediate swap into the Empoleon. Tries to catch another Hydro Cannon here on this Altaria, but no. Drill Peck is going to be thrown here. Deals a decent amount of damage.
We do have Flamethrower over neutral coverage versus his Empoleon. It's just both like neutral moves that are going to be thrown here, but Empoleon has the upper hand because it resists the Dragon Breaths, has the Drill Pecks, has the Metal Sound. So he's going to go for the second Drill Peck here on the Altaria. Altaria doesn't have to shield here. He knows he can survive.
ASPRESCELTO has put himself in an advantageous position when it comes to the Pokemon, when it comes to the alignment here. But Boom has dealt so much fast attack damage that those matchups might tilt a little bit to his side. Throws a Sky Attack here, saves some energy. Another Drill Peck is going to be thrown. At some point you will have to use your shields. Boom puts it all on the Ferd. Ferd with 2 shields has won difficult matchups before.
Ferd goes for the Trailblaze here. I think this will knock out, so I don't know if he's going for it to shield this Empoleon. It lets it go, and the Trailblaze does not allow it to survive on 1 HP. It goes to the Feraligatr, swaps in, and this Ferd is going on a rampage right now.
Ferd deals so much damage with those Sucker Punches. Having those 2 shields is allowing you to go on a tear, dealing a lot of damage. Maybe this Kanto Marowak did the job by dealing so much damage with those Mud Slaps. Races up to a possible knockout. Another Hydro Cannon is being reached, but there is the next shield.
Boom knows. Boom is locked in. He knows. He was nodding. He knows, okay, my Ferd is my Wincon, and he goes for that Wincon right now. He shields the Hydro Cannon, farms down the Feraligatr, and there's 1 shield left up, but there's nothing left on the Empoleon to get the shield on it. Yeah, and there he goes. Ferd wins the game.
Incredible plays by BOEM20, not disappointing again, making it to a Day 2 on the winner's side. He is one of the best trainers we have in Europe right now. Again, this time bringing the Ferd, getting into uncomfortable matchups, knowing I just need to deal some fast attack damage to something before I swap out, so I can get the maximum advantage out of the other matchups that I'm playing.